What if the key to a meaningful life isn't about finding yourself, but creating yourself? What if the person you're meant to become isn't something you discover, but something you create? This is the radical idea at the heart of Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy, and today we're diving deep into his vision of self-transformation, the journey of becoming who you are. Friedrich Nietzsche was a 19th century philosopher who challenged the foundations of traditional morality, religion, and even the concept of the self. He believed that life isn't about following rules or conforming to societal expectations. Instead, it's about creating your own values, embracing your individuality, and becoming the best version of yourself. One of Nietzsche's most famous quotes is, "Become who you are." But what does this mean? It's not about finding some pre-existing identity. It's about creating yourself through struggle, creativity, and self-overcoming. It's about transforming who you are into who you can be. And this journey of self-transformation is what we'll explore in this video. So, why does this matter? Because Nietzsche's philosophy isn't just about abstract ideas. It's about how we live our lives. It's about breaking free from the expectations of others and embracing our true potential. It's about finding meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain. In this video, we'll explore Nietzsche's key ideas, like the will to power, the death of God, and the concept of the Übermensch. We'll discuss how suffering, creativity, and self-reflection can lead to transformation. And we'll provide practical steps to help you start your own journey of becoming who you are. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of Nietzsche's philosophy and perhaps a new perspective on your own life. So, let's begin this journey together. To understand Nietzsche's philosophy, it's important to know a bit about his life. Friedrich Nietzsche was born in 1844 in Rücken, a small town in what is now Germany. From a young age, he showed exceptional talent in academics and music. He studied classical philology and became a professor at the University of Basel by the age of 24, an extraordinary achievement. But Nietzsche's life was far from easy. He struggled with poor health throughout his life, suffering from migraines, vision problems, and eventually a mental breakdown that left him incapacitated for the last decade of his life. Despite these challenges, Nietzsche produced some of the most influential works in Western philosophy, including Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Beyond Good and Evil, and On the Genealogy of Morals. Nietzsche's life was marked by a relentless pursuit of truth and a deep desire to challenge the status quo. He questioned everything: morality, religion, culture, and even the nature of the self. And it's this fearless questioning that makes his philosophy so powerful and transformative. Nietzsche's philosophy revolves around a few key themes. First, there's the idea of the will to power, the driving force behind all life. Nietzsche believed that every living being strives to grow, create, and overcome. This isn't just about physical strength or domination. It's about the desire to achieve one's full potential. Second, there's the concept of the death of God. Nietzsche famously declared that God is dead, meaning that traditional religious and moral frameworks no longer hold sway in the modern world. This creates both a crisis and an opportunity. A crisis because it leaves a moral vacuum, and an opportunity because it allows us to create our own values. Finally, there's the idea of the Übermensch, or the Overman. The Übermensch represents the ideal of self-transformation, someone who creates their own values, embraces their individuality, and lives authentically. These themes, the will to power, the death of God, and the Übermensch, are central to Nietzsche's vision of self-transformation, and they're what we'll explore in the rest of this video. At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy is the idea of self-transformation. One of his most famous quotes is, "Become who you are." But what does this mean? It's not about finding some pre-existing identity or following a set path. It's about creating yourself through struggle, creativity, and self-overcoming. Nietzsche believed that we're not born with a fixed identity. Instead, we're constantly evolving, shaped by our experiences, choices, and actions. The journey of self-transformation is about embracing this process of becoming. It's about breaking free from societal expectations, questioning inherited values, and creating your own path. This idea is both empowering and challenging. It's empowering because it puts you in control of your own life. But it's also challenging because it requires courage, effort, and a willingness to confront your fears and limitations. Nietzsche's philosophy is a call to action, a call to stop living on autopilot and start creating the life you truly want. Many people talk about finding themselves as if there's a hidden identity waiting to be discovered, but Nietzsche rejected this idea. For him, the self isn't something you find, it's something you create. Think of it like this. If life were a blank canvas, finding yourself would mean looking for a pre-drawn picture. But creating yourself means picking up the brush and painting your own masterpiece. It's an active, ongoing process, one that requires experimentation, failure, and growth. This distinction is crucial because it shifts the focus from passive discovery to active creation. It's not about waiting for the right moment or the perfect opportunity. It's about taking action, making choices, and learning from the results. Nietzsche's philosophy challenges us to stop waiting for life to happen to us and start making life happen for us. It's a call to embrace our potential, take risks, and become the best version of ourselves. And this journey of self-creation is what we'll explore in the rest of this video. One of Nietzsche's most central ideas is the will to power. But what does this mean? At its core, the will to power is the driving force behind all life. It's the desire to grow, create, and overcome. Nietzsche believed that every living being, from plants to animals to humans, strives to expand its power and potential. But the will to power isn't just about physical strength or domination. It's about the desire to achieve one's full potential. It's the force that pushes us to learn, create, and transform. For Nietzsche, the will to power is the essence of life itself. It's what drives evolution, art, science, and human progress. This concept is central to Nietzsche's vision of self-transformation. To become who you are, you must embrace your will to power. You must strive to grow, create, and overcome the obstacles in your path. It's not about following rules or conforming to societal expectations. It's about harnessing your inner drive and using it to shape your own destiny. So, how does the will to power manifest in our lives? It shows up in our desire to grow and improve. Think about the artist who spends hours perfecting their craft, the entrepreneur who takes risks to build a business, or the athlete who pushes their limits to achieve greatness. These are all examples of the will to power in action. But the will to power isn't just about external achievements. It's also about internal growth. It's about overcoming your fears, doubts, and limitations. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, not for others, but for you. Nietzsche believed that the will to power is what makes life meaningful. Without it, we're just going through the motions, living on autopilot. But when we embrace our will to power, we become active participants in our own lives. We take control, make choices, and create our own values. This is why the will to power is so central to Nietzsche's philosophy. It's not just a concept, it's a call to action. It's a reminder that we have the power to shape our own lives, to grow, create, and transform. And this is the essence of self-transformation. One of Nietzsche's most famous and controversial ideas is the declaration that God is dead. But what does this mean? Nietzsche wasn't talking about the literal death of a deity. Instead, he was referring to the collapse of traditional religious and moral frameworks in the modern world. For centuries, religion provided a foundation for morality, meaning, and purpose. It told people what was right and wrong, what to value, and how to live. But with the rise of science, reason, and secularism, these traditional beliefs began to lose their authority. Nietzsche saw this as both a crisis and an opportunity. The death of God represents the end of an era, a time when people could rely on external authorities to tell them how to live. But it also marks the beginning of a new era, a time when we must create our own values and find our own meaning. This is the challenge and the opportunity that Nietzsche presents to us. The death of God creates a crisis because it leaves a moral vacuum. Without a divine authority to tell us what's right and wrong, we're left adrift, unsure of how to live. This can lead to nihilism, the belief that life has no inherent meaning or value. Nietzsche saw nihilism as one of the greatest dangers of the modern world. But the death of God also creates an opportunity. It frees us from the constraints of traditional morality and allows us to create our own values. Nietzsche believed that this is the ultimate act of self-transformation. Instead of following rules handed down by others, we can define our own purpose and live authentically. This is both empowering and terrifying. It's empowering because it puts us in control of our own lives, but it's also terrifying because it requires us to take full responsibility for our choices. There's no higher power to blame or rely on, only ourselves. Nietzsche's message is clear. The death of God is not the end of meaning, it's the beginning of a new kind of meaning. It's an invitation to create our own values, to live boldly, and to embrace the uncertainty of existence. And this is the essence of self-transformation. Nietzsche believed that morality isn't universal. It's shaped by power dynamics. In his book on the genealogy of morals, he introduces two types of morality: master morality and slave morality. Master morality is the morality of the strong, noble, and powerful. It's a value system created by those who see themselves as exceptional. In master morality, traits like strength, pride, and excellence are celebrated as good, while weakness, timidity, and mediocrity are dismissed as bad. This morality is life-affirming and self-empowering. On the other hand, slave morality is the morality of the weak, oppressed, and resentful. It's a value system created as a reaction to oppression. In slave morality, traits like humility, meekness, and equality are celebrated as good, while strength, pride, and ambition are condemned as evil. This morality is life-denying and rooted in resentment. So, how do these moral systems affect us? Nietzsche believed that most of us live under the influence of slave morality. From a young age, we're taught to value humility over pride, obedience over ambition, and equality over individuality. These values are deeply ingrained in our culture, religion, and education. But here's the problem. Slave morality suppresses our will to power. It teaches us to deny our desires, suppress our strengths, and conform to societal expectations. Over time, this can lead to a sense of inadequacy and self-doubt. We start to see ourselves as weak, powerless, and unworthy. Nietzsche's critique of slave morality isn't about rejecting all moral values. It's about questioning the values we've inherited and asking, do these values empower us or limit us? Do they help us grow or hold us back? The goal is to move beyond slave morality and embrace a more life-affirming approach. This doesn't mean adopting master morality wholesale. It means creating our own values, values that celebrate our individuality, creativity, and potential. And this is the essence of self-transformation. Nietzsche's famous quote, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." One of Nietzsche's most famous quotes is, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." This statement captures his belief in the transformative power of suffering. For Nietzsche, suffering isn't something to be avoided or feared. It's an essential part of growth. Think about it. When we face challenges, we're forced to dig deep, to push beyond our limits, and to discover strengths we didn't know we had. Suffering forces us to confront our fears, to question our assumptions, and to grow in ways we never thought possible. This doesn't mean that suffering is easy or enjoyable. It's not. But Nietzsche believed that it's through struggle and adversity that we become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Suffering in this sense is a teacher, one that pushes us to become the best version of ourselves. So how does suffering lead to self-discovery and transformation? Nietzsche believed that suffering strips away the illusions we have about ourselves and the world. It forces us to confront the truth about who we are, what we value, and what we're capable of. For example, imagine someone who loses their job. At first, this might feel like a devastating blow, but over time, they might discover new talents, pursue a passion they've always ignored, or find a deeper sense of purpose. The suffering they experienced becomes a catalyst for growth and transformation. This is why Nietzsche saw suffering as essential to the journey of self-transformation. It's not about glorifying pain or seeking out hardship. It's about recognizing that suffering, when embraced and understood, can lead to profound personal growth. The key is to approach suffering with the right mindset. Instead of seeing it as a punishment or a failure, see it as an opportunity, a chance to learn, grow, and become stronger. This shift in perspective is at the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy. It's a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we have the power to transform ourselves and our lives. One of Nietzsche's most thought-provoking ideas is the concept of the eternal recurrence. Imagine this. What if every moment of your life, every joy, every pain, every decision, were to repeat itself over and over for eternity? This is the eternal recurrence. Nietzsche presents this idea as a kind of thought experiment. He asks us to consider, if you had to live your life again and again, exactly as it is, would you be filled with joy or despair? Would you embrace your life with enthusiasm, or would you regret the choices you've made? The eternal recurrence isn't a scientific theory or a religious belief. It's a challenge, a way of testing how fully we're living our lives. It forces us to confront the question, are we living in a way that we'd be willing to repeat forever? So, what does the eternal recurrence mean for us? At its core, it's a call to live authentically and intentionally. If every moment of your life were to repeat itself, wouldn't you want to make sure that each moment is meaningful? This idea challenges us to stop living on autopilot. It asks us to take responsibility for our choices and to live in a way that aligns with our deepest values. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. It's about making choices that we can stand behind, even if we had to make them again and again. For example, think about a decision you've been putting off, a career change, a difficult conversation, or a personal goal. The eternal recurrence asks, if you had to live with the consequences of this decision forever, would you make it? This perspective can help us cut through procrastination and fear and take action on the things that truly matter. Ultimately, the eternal recurrence is a reminder that life is precious and finite. It's an invitation to live boldly, authentically, and unapologetically. It's a call to embrace the present moment and to create a life that we'd be proud to live over and over again. One of Nietzsche's most iconic ideas is the concept of the Übermensch, or the Overman. The Übermensch represents the ideal of self-transformation, a person who creates their own values, embraces their individuality, and lives authentically. The Übermensch isn't bound by traditional morality or societal expectations. Instead, they define their own purpose and meaning. They're not afraid to take risks, to challenge the status quo, or to embrace the uncertainty of life. For Nietzsche, the Übermensch is the ultimate expression of the will to power, the drive to grow, create, and overcome. But the Übermensch isn't a fixed ideal or a specific type of person. It's a goal, a direction, a way of living. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, not for others, but for you. It's about embracing your potential and creating a life that's true to who you are. So, how does the Übermensch embody self-transformation? First, the Übermensch rejects the values of slave morality, values like humility, obedience, and conformity. Instead, they create their own values, values that celebrate strength, creativity, and individuality. Second, the Übermensch embraces the challenges of life. They don't shy away from suffering or adversity. Instead, they see these challenges as opportunities for growth. They understand that suffering is a necessary part of the journey to becoming who they are. Finally, the Übermensch lives authentically. They don't pretend to be someone they're not, and they don't conform to societal expectations. They're true to themselves, even when it's difficult or unpopular. The Übermensch isn't a distant ideal. It's something we can all strive for. It's a reminder that we have the power to shape our own lives, to create our own values, and to become the best version of ourselves. And this is the essence of self-transformation. Nietzsche saw nihilism as one of the greatest dangers of the modern world. But what is nihilism? At its core, nihilism is the belief that life has no inherent meaning or value. It's the feeling that nothing matters, that all our efforts are pointless, and that there's no higher purpose to our existence. But Nietzsche didn't see nihilism as the end of the story. Instead, he saw it as a challenge, a call to create our own meaning and values. For Nietzsche, the solution to nihilism isn't to despair, it's to transform ourselves and our world. So, how do we overcome nihilism? Nietzsche believed that the answer lies in self-transformation. Instead of relying on external sources of meaning, we must create our own. This means embracing our individuality, pursuing our passions, and living authentically. For example, think about an artist who creates a masterpiece. The act of creation gives their life meaning and purpose. It's not about external validation or recognition. It's about the joy of creating something that reflects their unique vision and values. This is the essence of Nietzsche's philosophy. He believed that we all have the power to create meaning in our lives. Whether it's through art, relationships, or personal growth, we can find purpose in the act of becoming who we are. Overcoming nihilism isn't easy. It requires courage, effort, and a willingness to confront the uncertainty of existence. But Nietzsche believed that it's worth it. By creating our own meaning, we can transform not only ourselves, but also the world around us. And this is the ultimate act of self-transformation. For Nietzsche, creativity wasn't just a hobby or a talent. It was a fundamental part of being human. He believed that art and creativity are essential to self-transformation. Through creativity, we express our individuality, explore our emotions, and make sense of the world. Nietzsche saw art as a way of affirming life. In a world that can often feel chaotic and meaningless, art gives us a way to create beauty, meaning, and order. Whether it's through painting, music, writing, or any other form of expression, creativity allows us to transform our experiences into something meaningful. But creativity isn't just about producing art. It's about living creatively. It's about approaching life with curiosity, imagination, and a willingness to take risks. It's about seeing the world as a blank canvas and ourselves as the artists. So, how does creativity lead to self-transformation? First, creativity allows us to explore and express our inner world. When we create, we tap into our emotions, thoughts, and desires. This process of self-expression helps us understand ourselves better and connect with our true selves. Second, creativity empowers us to shape our reality. Instead of passively accepting the world as it is, we can actively create the world we want to live in. This is the essence of the will to power, the drive to grow, create, and overcome. Finally, creativity helps us find meaning and purpose. When we create something, whether it's a piece of art, a business, or a relationship, we're contributing something unique to the world. This act of creation gives our lives meaning and helps us feel connected to something larger than ourselves. Nietzsche believed that we all have the potential to be creators. It's not about being a professional artist or achieving fame. It's about embracing our creativity and using it to transform ourselves and our world. And this is the essence of self-transformation. Defining the shadow self in Nietzsche's philosophy. While Nietzsche never explicitly used the term shadow self, his philosophy urges us to confront the parts of ourselves we suppress or deny. Think of the shadow as the hidden aspects of your psyche, your fears, desires, insecurities, and instincts. Nietzsche believed that true self-transformation requires facing these darker elements head-on. For Nietzsche, the shadow isn't something to fear or eliminate. It's a source of raw energy and authenticity. He wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." In other words, our flaws, struggles, and contradictions aren't weaknesses. They're the raw materials for growth. To become who you are, you must embrace the chaos within. How confronting the shadow leads to growth. So, how do we integrate the shadow? Nietzsche's answer lies in self-overcoming by acknowledging and accepting our darker impulses like anger, jealousy, or ambition. We reclaim their power. Instead of letting these traits control us, we channel them into creativity, strength, and self-mastery. For example, consider someone who suppresses their ambition because society calls it selfish. Nietzsche would argue, don't deny that ambition, harness it. Use it to drive meaningful goals, innovate, or lead. Similarly, anger, when understood, can fuel the courage to set boundaries or fight injustice. Integration isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming whole. Nietzsche's Übermensch doesn't reject the shadow, they integrate it. They turn chaos into purpose, fear into courage, and doubt into resolve. This is the ultimate act of self-transformation, not erasing your flaws, but transforming them into strengths. The journey isn't easy. It demands brutal honesty and courage. But as Nietzsche reminds us, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you'll be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. So what are the steps for practical self-transformation? Embrace challenges and suffering. Nietzsche famously said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." The first step to self-transformation is to stop avoiding struggle. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, view them as opportunities to grow. For example, if you're stuck in a job you hate, use that dissatisfaction as fuel to learn new skills or pivot careers. If a relationship ends, reflect on what it taught you about your needs and boundaries. Suffering isn't the enemy. It's the forge where your strength is tempered. Ask yourself, what pain am I avoiding that could actually help me grow? Start small. Take on a project that scares you. Have a difficult conversation. Lean into discomfort and watch yourself transform. Create your own values. Nietzsche urges us to reject herd morality and define our own values. To do this, start by auditing the beliefs you've inherited. Ask, do these values align with who I want to become? For instance, if society says success means a high salary, but you value creativity over money, redefine success for yourself. Write down your core principles like courage, curiosity, or compassion, and let them guide your decisions. Practical exercise. List 3 societal expectations you've followed blindly, e.g., you must marry by 30, or stability is safer than passion. Cross them out. Replace them with values that resonate with your true self. Live by these, even if it means standing apart from the crowd. Practice relentless self-reflection. Nietzsche wrote, No one can build you the bridge on which you must cross the river of life, no one but you. Self-transformation requires brutal honesty. Start a will to power journal. Every night ask, did I act today out of fear or courage? Did I follow my values or someone else's? Where did I play small and where did I dare greatly? Then take Nietzsche's eternal recurrence test, review your day, and ask, if I had to relive this day endlessly, would I feel proud or trapped? Use this to spot patterns and pivot. Finally, celebrate small victories. Did you speak up in a meeting? Did you choose authenticity over approval? These are acts of self-creation. Over time, they compound into profound change. The relevance of Nietzsche. Today, Nietzsche's ideas aren't confined to the 19th century, they're alive in today's world. Take entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Sarah Blakely, who've rejected societal scripts to redefine success. Musk risked his fortune to revolutionize space travel, embodying Nietzsche's will to power, turning ambition into cosmic impact. Blakely turned $5,000 into a billion-dollar empire by trusting her instincts over conventional wisdom. Artists like Beyoncé and Banksy also channel Nietzschean creativity. Beyoncé's Lemonade transformed personal pain into art, embracing the shadow to reclaim power. Banksy's anonymous, rule-breaking work challenges authority, proving creativity thrives outside societal boxes. Even everyday people reflect Nietzsche's ideals. Think of the teacher quitting a stifling job to start a passion project, or the single parent balancing work and family while pursuing a degree. These acts of courage and self-creation are modern echoes of Nietzsche's Übermensch, ordinary, people choosing to live extraordinarily. Nietzsche's philosophy isn't just personal, it's a blueprint for societal transformation. Consider movements like Dante's Me Too or climate activism. Tarana Burke and Greta Thunberg didn't wait for permission to challenge power structures. They created their own values, turning rage and urgency into global change. A perfect example of Nietzsche's revaluation of all values. But societal change starts within. Social media, for instance, is a double-edged sword. It can trap us in herd mentality, chasing likes and trends. Or it can be a tool for self-creation. Think of creators like Mr. Beast using platforms to innovate philanthropy, or poets like Rupi Kaur sharing raw authenticity. The choice is ours, conform or create. Nietzsche's answer to modern nihilism: create meaning. In a world obsessed with productivity, dare to prioritize joy. In a culture of comparison, define your own metrics of success. Ask yourself, where am I following the herd? Where can I reclaim my power? Start small. Post an unpopular opinion. Quit a toxic habit. Support a cause you believe in. As Nietzsche said, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Today, that struggle is worth it. Because when we transform ourselves, we inspire others to do the same, and that's how we change the world. Let's revisit the journey we've taken. We began with Nietzsche's radical idea: become who you are, not by finding yourself, but by creating yourself. We explored the will to power, the drive to grow and overcome. We confronted the death of God and the freedom and responsibility of crafting our own values. We saw how suffering isn't an enemy but a teacher, how the Übermensch embraces chaos to create meaning, and how modern icons like entrepreneurs, artists, and activists channel Nietzschean courage. We dismantled nihilism by choosing creativity over conformity and integrating our shadow to reclaim our power. This isn't just philosophy, it's a call to live boldly. Nietzsche once wrote, "The snake that cannot shed its skin perishes." Your old self, the one shaped by others' expectations, fears, and limits, is that skin. Shed it. Think of Vincent van Gogh, who painted masterpieces in obscurity, or Malala Yousafzai, who turned trauma into a global crusade for education. They didn't wait for permission, they acted. Now ask yourself Nietzsche's eternal recurrence question. If I had to relive this same life forever, would I despair or rejoice? Let that guide you. Every choice, every struggle, every moment of doubt is a brushstroke on the canvas of your becoming. Here's your challenge. Define one value. Tonight, write down one value you'll live by, not society's, but yours. Courage, curiosity, compassion. Let it dictate your next decision. Embrace one struggle. Pick a fear you've avoided, a difficult conversation, a career leap, a creative project. Lean into it this week. Share your journey. Comment below with Become Who You Are and tell us what's one step you'll take today. Let's build a tribe of self-creators. Want more? Hit subscribe and ring the bell. Every video here is a tool for your transformation. Remember, Nietzsche didn't write for professors. He wrote for you. The world doesn't need more followers. It needs you, unapologetic, unstoppable, and utterly unique. As Nietzsche said, no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Start paying it today. Thank you for watching. Now, go create.